We are at the beautiful Aria Casino and Resort for episode 14. Amazing property, so super excited to have a chance to make an episode here as we head on over to the poker room, and we are going to be in the game for $750. All right, let's get straight to it here at the Aria. We're looking down at ace king offsuit, ace of diamonds, king of spades, hijack limps. We go ahead and isolation raise to 30 from the cutoff. Folds around to the hijack who calls. So heads up to the flop. The flop is king 8-6, rainbow 67 in there. Hijack checks, and on this super dry, disconnected flop, we are going to be c-betting at a very high frequency. Obviously, with ace king, we're going to be betting. So we go ahead and fire 20, and he snap calls. The turn is the queen of diamonds, 107 in the pot. Hijack checks, and we are definitely going to be betting a pretty decent sizing, charge a lot of his draws and his worst king X, so we fire out $70, basically 70% pot, and once again, he pretty quickly calls. So off to the river, and it is the jack of hearts, 247 now in the pot. He checks, and at this point, we could obviously bet. We have top pair, top kicker, but a lot of two pair and straight combinations get home on this river. And the way he snap called on the turn, obviously we could bet, but I decided to just shut it down. I think this river is also going to make it harder to get called by worse, as well as also getting a lot of hands there. So I decide to just check this back, and we are good. Always amazing to look down and see the pocket aces, ace of hearts, ace of clubs. Under the gun 2 opens to 15. Hijack, European reg, 3 bets to 50. And we are on the button with aces, so absolute dream spot. We put in the 4 bet to 140. Folds around to the hijack who thinks it over for a bit and does put in the call. So heads up to the flop, and the flop is queen 4-3, 2 diamonds. So the cards I really did not want to see were queens and jacks. I'm really putting him heavily on hands such as queens, jacks, ace queen suited, maybe even ace king. So not in love with this queen at all. So when he checks, I decide to pot control and check back. I don't hate this. I think with kings, you want to bet a lot more often. You need a lot more protection, but with aces, I don't mind checking back at some frequency. The turn is the deuce of clubs, complete brick, and once again, he checks after thinking for a bit. And for some reason, I'm seeing monsters under the bed here. I don't really like this play at all. I decide to check again. I don't know. I think against a normal opponent, I'm just always betting here. But this guy, I don't know. He's just giving me sus vibes. And when we play the hand this way, there's some merit to it because now his non-showdown hands are just going to fire on the river and we can just pick them off. So don't hate it, but don't love it either. Our hand really looks like ace-king when we play it this way, so we might get him to try to bluff us off our hand. And we save money when he does have queens. I think this guy is tricky enough to check a hand such as that twice, knowing that we're probably going to bet pretty often, even with ace-king here on this turn, and that he can check raise us. So I don't hate it, but definitely don't love it. Definitely think we should have bet. Think we missed a bet. So once again, we check. And the river is another queen. It is the queen of spades, so definitely not putting him on queens now. And he leads out for 125, so we're just snapping this off. This is the exact reason we played the hand this way. So we go ahead and call, and he has pocket jacks. So a little unfortunate. I think we missed some value for sure. This hand missed a street of value, but that's just the way it goes. So that's going to be it for hand number 2. This hand is a perfect example of why you 3-bet. When in doubt, just 3-bet, especially when it's from a later position open. So in this hand, cutoff opens to 15. We make the mistake of just calling from the small blind. This is that same European reg. For some reason, dude's just freaking me out. I don't want to play a huge pot against him. I decided just flat from the small blind. Terrible play. Loose splashy player comes along for the ride in the big blind as well. So 3 ways to this flop. and it is ace 10 5 with 2 spades, 45 in there. So pretty good flop, all things considered. Top pair, decent kicker. We check, and big blind now bets 20. Initial raiser gets out of the way. Action on us, and we decide to just call. Again, I think this is another mistake. I think our hand is under-repped. We're against a loose, splashy player. There's nothing wrong with calling, don't get me wrong, but I do think higher EV play would be just raise. But we are out of position, so I don't hate just calling. The turn is the 9 of spades. Does bring in the flush, 85 in the pot. With the flush getting there, now I think we are supposed to check, and he now bets 30 into 85. Kind of a sus bet. Don't really think he has a flush betting 30. Never folding, so we call. The river is the 5 of diamonds. We check in flow, and he now bets 80. So it does pair the board on the river. Shouldn't really have too many 5x, triple barreling. So yeah, like I said, I don't really think he has a flush. He could even just have a random ace-x hand. I think the 10 kicker on the board is good. So I think we have to pay this one off. I have a weird feeling I'm beat, but yeah, can't fold, especially against this guy. So we do put in the call, and he has 5-3 of hearts. So yeah, pretty tilting hand to lose to, considering he was just blasting away with bottom pair the whole time and just gets there on the river. But that's what happens when you play too passively. You end up losing. This is Guy from Last Hand's dog right here. A little quick guest appearance. Super chill dog. Not going to say the dog's name in case he is in the witness protection program, but super awesome dog, so had to put him in here. All right, getting back to the hands. This time we're looking down at pocket nines. Under the gun 2 opens to 15. We go ahead and call from the low jack. Still don't really have a read on this under the gun 2 guy quite yet. Older guy, can't really tell if he's loose, tight. No real read so far. He just sat down not too long ago. He did buy in for the max. The button now puts in a 3-bet to 75. From what I could tell so far, he seemed like a very solid reg, clean-cut, middle-aged white dude. Seemed like he handled the chips pretty well. Seemed like he definitely knew what he was doing, playing very snug. So he 3-bets to 75, folds around to under the gun 2. He puts in the call, so great spot for us to just set mine and see a flop. So we go ahead and call as well. And the flop is 9-8 deuce. We do hit our set jackpot here at Aria. And it's a rainbow flop, which is actually kind of worse. $232 in the pot. So it checks in flow to the button, who bets 125. Under the gun 2, doesn't think too long and calls, so amazing spot. At this point, I do not think we should raise. Super dry, pretty disconnected flop. I guess Jack 10's out there, potentially as far as draws or 7-6 suited. But yeah, no flush draw. I don't think there's any point to raise yet and make him hero fold a hand such as jacks or 10 somehow. And yeah, keep ace king in there, drawing basically dead. Ace queen. So I think call is definitely the play. So we do call. And the turn is the 6 of clubs, 607 in the pot. So puts the flush draw on board. Under the gun 2 checks. And at this point, I definitely think we should bet. I think the button is going to be checking a lot of his overpairs, especially this player type. He seemed like a thinking player for sure. And after getting called by 2 players, I definitely think he's going to be slowing down with pretty much all his overpairs, and we do not want that. We really do not want him to check back his overpairs. So this is a spot where we just need to play our hand for what it is. We got a set. We don't need to worry about our range or any of that. We need to play our hand against his range. We need to get money in the pot. A check here would be disastrous if he checks back. So we bet 230. And button pretty quickly folds, guessing he just had some type of ace-x hand that was stabbing on the flop. And under the gun 2 puts in the call. So putting him on a lot of draws for sure at this point. Don't really think he has a ton of value. The river is the 4 of clubs, so really hating to see that club. The flush gets home, 1,067 in the pot. Under the gun 2, thinks for a bit, about 25 seconds, and now fires out for 375. So pretty brutal, but yeah, I mean, top set. We're not folding this. I mean, if you have a flush at this point, just Merry Christmas. Here you go. I ain't folding this. So I do put in the call, and he had 6-5 of diamonds. So we are good. Thank the Lord. Really needed that one. So we're going to be dragging in a $1,817 pot here at Aria. Trying to keep the momentum rolling. This time we're looking down at 8-7 of hearts. We go ahead and raise to 20 from the cutoff. The button calls, and big blind, same reg from last hand, calls as well. 3 ways to the flop, and the flop is 9-6-5. 2 diamonds, 1 club. We flop the nuts. Holy shit, we're finally running good here at the Aria Dream Spot. The big blind checks, and we bet 25. Definitely think we should have sized up a little bit here, but I just had such a good hand. I did not want them to fold, but that is human thinking. That is not how you want to play. So should have sized up a little bit here. On this type of board texture, we want to bet a little bigger. Can't be worrying about them folding. Button does fold, and big blind calls. So that is definitely what we want to see. It would be an absolute disaster if he folded. I would be super tilted. Turn is the deuce of clubs. Super welcoming sight, complete break. Big blind checks. And at this point, we decide to bet 90. I don't hate this bet, but I don't love it either. I think in this spot, we should have got greedy here. In the big blind, this board smashes his range pretty good as well. He can have a lot of sets or 2 pairs. So I think this is a spot that we should definitely get greedy, especially there's 2 different flush draws on the board. This is definitely a spot we can overbet. I think I would have liked a bet of 130. I think would be the perfect bet sizing. But 90 is a good bet as well, because sometimes people overfold to overbets in live poker. So that's why I decided to just bet 90, and big blind does pretty quickly call. 292 now in the pot, headed to the river, and it is the king of spades, complete brick, super welcoming sight. He checks once again, and definitely need to bet big in this spot. There's 292 in the pot, and I think once again we could go for an overbet. Really just polarize and make it look like we either have the nuts or a set or a missed flush draw. I think 320, 330, 335 might have been the perfect bet size. But for the reasons stated before, where people overfold sometimes to overbets in live play, if he has a hand like ace-9 we mentioned before, maybe even 6-5 suited, he might find the hero fold if we blast for 320 or something crazy. So I do decide to bet 285, and he pretty quickly calls, pretty much snap calls. So I don't know, I think he really might have had a set, very possible. I think the 25 bet on the flop, though, he would probably usually raise a set, but he did kind of hesitate kind of weirdly a little bit. And like I said, this guy played pretty conservatively, pretty by the book. The way he snap called us on the river, don't think it's ever ace-9. It could be a 2-pair type hand, you know, but I think he definitely could have had a set. So I think we missed some potential value. I think we should have got a little greedy there on the turn, really went for the overbet. It's the prime spot to do it. Even live poker, I don't care, just overbet this spot. But hey, so you live and you learn. So that is going to be 8-7 suited. Splashing around a bit this hand. Under the gun 2 opens to 20. This is the same gentleman from the pocket 9s hand where we flopped top set, and he tried to bluff us on the river with 6-5 of diamonds. And after this hand, I realized he was pretty actiony, pretty loose player. So I am trying to play pots with him. So yeah, we put in the 3-bet to 70 from the low jack. The hijack now cold 4-bets to 175. So this was definitely not part of the script. Folds back around to under the gun 2, who does put in the call. So it's tempting to call and see a flop, but queen 7 suited is just not good enough. If I had king 7 suited, I probably would peel. But this experiment is going to be over, so we go ahead and muck our hand. Final hand of the night, coming full circle. We're looking down at ace, king, offsuit. Once again, ace of clubs, king of hearts. Hijack opens to 15. He just took our older buddy to our right seat. This guy seems pretty reggy. We go ahead and put in the 3-bet to 55 from the cutoff. Folds back around to the hijack, who puts in the call. So heads up to the flop. The flop is queen 7-3, 2 diamonds. Hijack checks. We go ahead and fire out for 45, and he folds. So nice, easy into this session as we take this one down. Let's go. Just left Aria plus 1360. Needed that. Really needed that. The table started getting super reggy at the end. Didn't feel like battling with literally all regs. We're already up a nice amount. We really could not stand to get coolered somehow and lose all those chips in front of us. That just would have been absolutely devastating. So sometimes you got to play the long game, and the table was starting to just become really shitty anyway. Phone's getting low on battery. Gonna head back to the room, charge up our phone, put some of this money away, and figure out where we're going next. Definitely playing more, not sure where yet. So I'll get back to the home base and figure it out from there.